Semaglutide changed the weight loss conversation. Then Tirzepatide showed up and made semaglutide look like a warm-up act. 22% average body weight loss in clinical trials, a completely different mechanism, and a legal and supply landscape that shifted dramatically in the past 2 years. Not medical advice. Tirzepatide is a prescription medication. Everything here is educational only. Consult a licensed physician before considering any of this. Tirzepatide is a dual agonist. To understand what tirzepatide is, you first need to understand what semaglutide is and what it isn't. Semaglutide is a GLP-1 receptor agonist. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It's a hormone your gut naturally releases when you eat. It tells your pancreas to produce insulin. It slows down digestion, and critically, it signals your brain that you're full. Semaglutide mimics that signal and amplifies it. That's why people on it stop feeling hungry. That's why it works. Tirzepatide does all of that, but it also activates a second receptor, GIP, glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. This is a different gut hormone, also released after eating, also involved in insulin regulation. For a long time, researchers weren't sure whether adding GIP agonism on top of GLP-1 agonism would actually help. There was even early thinking that blocking GIP might be useful. Tirzepatide proved that activating both together creates something greater than the sum of its parts. Think of it this way. GLP-1 is like pressing the brake on your appetite. Tirzepatide presses that same brake, but it also improves the engine. The GIP receptor appears to influence how your body processes and stores fat, improves insulin sensitivity in peripheral tissues, and this is particularly relevant for people who struggled with nausea on semaglutide. The GIP component seems to reduce some of the GI side effects that make GLP-1 drugs hard to tolerate for certain people. The result is a compound that suppresses appetite more effectively, improves metabolic function more broadly, and is often better tolerated in the early titration phase than semaglutide alone. Brand names. Mounjaro is the diabetes indication. Zepbound is the obesity indication. Same molecule, Tirzepatide, different FDA approval labels. The research, SURMOUNT and SURPASS. Let's talk numbers, because the trial data here is significant. SURMOUNT-1 was a 72-week randomized controlled trial in adults with obesity or overweight, plus at least one weight-related condition. Participants taking 15 milligrams Tirzepatide weekly lost an average of 22.5% of their body weight. The 10 milligrams group lost about 21.4%. Even the 5 milligrams group came in at roughly 16%, which is already competitive with semaglutide's ceiling. SURMOUNT-2 specifically looked at people with type 2 diabetes, a population that typically loses less weight on these drugs because their metabolic environment is more challenging. Even there, Tirzepatide produced roughly 15% weight loss at the highest dose. SURMOUNT-3 and SURMOUNT-4 looked at maintenance. What happens when you stop? The short answer? Weight comes back, which is consistent with what we see across this entire drug class. These are not one-and-done treatments. They require continued use to maintain effect. The SURPASS series, 6 trials, established Tirzepatide's efficacy and safety specifically for type 2 diabetes management. HbA1c reductions were substantial across the board, with the drug outperforming insulin degludec, insulin glargine, and semaglutide in direct comparisons. SURPASS-CVOT, the cardiovascular outcomes trial, showed Tirzepatide reducing major adverse cardiovascular events in people with type 2 diabetes and established heart disease. 2 additional trials worth noting. The SUMMIT trial demonstrated benefit in heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, a condition that has historically been very difficult to treat pharmacologically. The SYNERGY-NASH trial showed meaningful liver fat reduction and histological improvement in metabolic-associated steatohepatitis, which is essentially fatty liver disease driven by metabolic dysfunction. These are not peripheral findings. They suggest tirzepatide's effects go well beyond just body weight. Dosing, the titration schedule. Tirzepatide is dosed once weekly by subcutaneous injection. The titration schedule is standardized and is important to follow. Ramping up too fast is the primary driver of GI side effects. You start at 2.5 milligrams per week for the first 4 weeks. That's purely a tolerance-building dose. It's not intended to be therapeutic on its own. From there, you increase by 2.5 milligrams every 4 weeks, 5 milligrams, 7.5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, 12.5 milligrams, and the ceiling of 15 milligrams. Most people find their effective dose somewhere between 7.5 and 15 milligrams, depending on their weight, response, and tolerance. Some people do well at 10 milligrams and never need to go higher. The goal is to use the lowest dose that gives you adequate effect, not to maximize the dose for its own sake. If you hit a point in the titration where nausea or GI discomfort becomes significant, you hold at that dose rather than pushing through. Let the body adapt. Most people see GI symptoms diminish meaningfully after 2 to 3 weeks at any given dose level. Muscle loss, the real conversation. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough in the mainstream coverage of these drugs. Rapid weight loss causes muscle loss. Not just fat loss, muscle loss. Studies on GLP-1 class drugs have shown that anywhere from 25 to 40% of total weight lost can come from lean mass, not fat. That is a significant number. Losing 50 pounds sounds great until you realize 15 of those pounds were muscle. That affects your metabolic rate, your functional strength, your long-term health trajectory. Now, there is early mechanistic evidence suggesting that tirzepatide's GIP component may offer some degree of muscle-preserving advantage compared to GLP-1 alone. GIP receptors exist in muscle tissue and may play a role in protein metabolism. The data here is not conclusive yet, but it's a meaningful hypothesis, and ongoing research is looking at it directly. What is conclusive is that the best mitigation strategy we currently have is behavioral, resistance training, and adequate protein intake. If you are on tirzepatide and you're not lifting weights, you're leaving a significant portion of your potential outcome on the table, and you're probably losing more muscle than necessary. The recommendation across most sports medicine and metabolic health contexts is resistance training at least 3 times per week and protein intake at or above 0.7 grams per pound of body weight per day. Some protocols push toward 1 gram per pound. Some biohackers also explore MK677, ibutamorin, as a growth hormone secretagogue to support lean mass preservation during aggressive caloric restriction. I've covered MK677 separately on this channel. It's not a mainstream pharmaceutical recommendation, but it exists in the conversation and it's worth knowing about. Tirzepatide has 2 FDA-approved indications. First, type 2 diabetes management under the brand name Mounjaro. Second, chronic weight management in adults with a BMI of 30 or greater, or 27 or greater with at least one weight-related condition, under the brand name Zepbound. Practically speaking, the people who respond best to tirzepatide include those managing obesity, those with metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance, people with type 2 diabetes who need both glucose control and weight reduction, and people who tried semaglutide, got some benefit, but felt they plateaued or didn't achieve the results the research suggested was possible. If semaglutide gave you 8 to 10% weight loss and you were hoping for more, tirzepatide may be worth the conversation with your physician. It is a more potent drug in this class by current evidence. This matters, so I'm going to be direct about it. Do not use tirzepatide if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid carcinoma. Do not use it if you have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, also called MEN2. These are the same contraindications as semaglutide. They apply to the entire GLP-1 drug class based on rodent study data. And while the human risk is not confirmed, the FDA takes them seriously, and so should you. History of pancreatitis is another hard stop. GLP-1 agonists have been associated with increased pancreatitis risk, and combining that history with this drug class requires careful physician judgment. Generally, the guidance is to avoid it. Pregnancy, do not use. These drugs are not safe during pregnancy and should be discontinued before attempting to conceive. Women of childbearing age using tirzepatide should discuss contraception timing with their doctor. Severe gastroparesis, a condition where stomach emptying is already impaired, is also generally a contraindication, since these drugs slow gastric emptying as part of their mechanism. Side effects, what to actually expect. The most common side effects of tirzepatide are gastrointestinal, nausea, diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, and reduced appetite beyond what's intended. These are generally most pronounced during the early weeks of any dose increase and tend to diminish as the body adapts. Compared to semaglutide, many users report that GI side effects, particularly nausea, are somewhat more manageable on tirzepatide. The likely explanation goes back to the GIP mechanism. GIP may partially attenuate the nausea signal that GLP-1 agonism produces on its own. This is not universal. Some people still experience significant nausea, but the trend in clinical data and anecdotal experience points in this direction. Injection site reactions are mild and common. Fatigue, particularly in the early titration phase, can occur. The muscle loss concern I described earlier is real and worth taking seriously. That's not a side effect in the conventional sense, but it is a meaningful consequence of rapid weight loss that users of this drug need to actively manage. The Eli Lilly C&D and compounding landscape. If you've been searching for tirzepatide outside of a traditional pharmacy, you've probably noticed that the landscape looks very different today than it did in 2023. During the period when the FDA declared tirzepatide to be in shortage, which enabled compounding pharmacies to legally produce copies for patients, there was a robust market for compounded tirzepatide. Telehealth platforms were prescribing it. Compounding pharmacies were fulfilling it at significantly lower cost than the brand name versions. In 2024, Eli Lilly moved aggressively to shut this down. They sent cease-and-desist letters to compounding pharmacies and peptide vendors, arguing that tirzepatide could not legally be compounded even under shortage conditions due to its status as a complex drug. The FDA subsequently updated its shortage determination, and compounding of tirzepatide largely became legally impermissible, though this has been contested in court by pharmacy trade groups. For the peptide research chemical market specifically, the vendors who had been selling tirzepatide labeled as a research compound, most have removed it from their catalogs entirely. The combination of Eli Lilly's legal pressure and regulatory scrutiny made the risk too high to continue. What this means practically, access to tirzepatide today is predominantly through FDA-approved channels, meaning a prescription for Mounjaro or Zepbound through a licensed physician. The cost without insurance is significant, roughly $1,000 per month or more, though manufacturer savings programs exist, and some insurance plans cover Zepbound for obesity. GoodRx and manufacturer discount cards can help. It's worth doing that research. I want to leave you leaving your approach to tirzepatide should be increased practically to promote Setin and the vendor. I want to leave you leaving your front and over-legal for compounding, setting up a ritual, or ritually. The tirzepatide is just of a free day. I want to leave you with something to think about, because tirzepatide, as impressive as its results are, may not be the ceiling. Retatrutide is a triple agonist under development by Eli Lilly. It activates GIP, GLP-1, and a third receptor, the glucagon receptor. Glucagon is involved in fat mobilization and energy expenditure. Adding glucagon agonism on top of the dual GIP GLP-1 mechanism theoretically drives even greater fat oxidation and metabolic rate. Early phase 2 data on Retatrutide showed weight loss in the range of 24% over 48 weeks at the highest dose. If those numbers hold in phase 3 trials, we are looking at a drug that produces weight loss approaching what bariatric surgery achieves, pharmacologically. I'm going to do a full deep dive on Retatrutide in a dedicated video because it deserves that kind of treatment. But I wanted to plant the flag here. The GLP-1 class of drugs is not done evolving. Tirzepatide looks like the best version right now. It might not look that way in 3 years. Let me bring this together. Tirzepatide is a dual GIP and GLP-1 receptor agonist, the first drug in its class. It outperforms semaglutide in head-to-head data, producing 20 to 22% average body weight loss versus semaglutide's 15% in comparable trials. The mechanism is meaningfully different. 2 receptor pathways working synergistically with potential advantages in fat metabolism, GI tolerability, and possibly muscle preservation. The clinical trial program is deep. SURMOUNT, SURPASS, SUMMIT, SYNERGY-NASH, and the data holds up across populations. It is not appropriate for everyone. The contraindications are real. The muscle loss concern is real. Access has become more restricted following Eli Lilly's legal actions against compounders. And like every drug in this class, the effects diminish when you stop taking it. But if you are a candidate, metabolic disease, obesity, inadequate response to semaglutide, the evidence says Tirzepatide is currently the strongest tool in this category. I need to be completely clear. I am Marcus Reed, and I am not a physician, pharmacist, or any kind of licensed medical professional. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing here constitutes medical advice, and nothing here should be used as the basis for starting, stopping, or adjusting any medication or health protocol. Tirzepatide is a prescription drug approved by the FDA for specific indications. It carries real contraindications and real risks. It must be prescribed and supervised by a licensed physician who knows your full medical history. The discussion of the compounding and research compound landscape in this video is descriptive. It is not an endorsement of obtaining any pharmaceutical compound outside of legal, licensed channels. The regulatory environment around compounded GLP-1 drugs has changed significantly and continues to evolve. Seek current legal guidance if this affects you. Do not self-medicate with prescription compounds. Do not obtain them from unverified sources. Talk to your doctor. If this video was useful, subscribe for the next one. We're going deep on Retatrutide, the triple agonist, and it's a different level of conversation. See you there.